First of all, we're going to do some writing in a sec, but first of all, I would like you to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you a question, and this is the question. If you were an animal, what animal would you be? So just have a think, not humans, because that's a bit obvious and boring. It could be an imaginary animal. It could be a dragon or a unicorn or an alien monster. It could be a real one, a cat or a dog. The question is, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? So take 6 seconds. Okay, so you should have an animal. And you're going to start the first line. And the first line is going to say, if I were. So you're going to write, if I were, and then your animal. So it could be, if I were a snake. And then, or it could be, if I were a goat. Whatever your animal is, that's how you start, if I were. And then your next sentence, you are going to complete this word. If I were, your next line is going to be, I would. So you might have, for example, if I were a snake, I would. And now you got, this is where it gets weird. You don't just think about the things that a snake does, slither on the rainforest floor, for example, gobble up a mouse. You think about some of the things that you personally would do if you were a snake. So that might be, for example, if I were a snake, I would slither slowly to school. You'll notice in that sentence there's a bit of what's called alliteration. All those words begin with S. Slither slowly to school. If I were a snake, I would snap off my brother's head with my poisonous fangs. So what would you do? And then you could basically do that with as many animals as you like. So the next line, you're going to think of another animal. So my first one was snake. My second one is going to be a pigeon. I live in London. There are loads of pigeons. They're little birds. They're not very pleasant. If I were a pigeon, how would I complete the next line? If I were a pigeon, I would swoop overhead and do a poo on people who are sitting on park benches. And that you can complete that for as long as you like. If I were, I'm just going to do another one. If I were, I would. If I were a shark, I would. Sharks don't prowl. They maybe glide along the seashore, searching for tasty legs of sunbathers. And you'll notice when you've done enough lines, you have a pattern forming. This is called repetition. If I were, I would. If I were, I would. If I were, I would. The poem probably doesn't rhyme, but it will have a structure. And this structure of repetition is what gives your poem rhythm. It gives it structure. It makes it coherent. So it's not just a list of random ideas. It's all kind of stuck together in a nice formula. And yeah, you could do it, maybe try 5, 6, 7 animals. What would you do if you were an animal?